What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast, guys. We are going live. Got the boy Stagger Lee here as a special guest. But before we even dive in and get to the special guest, I want to say thank everybody that showed up today for the stream, for the show. We appreciate the support. We do this every single Saturday, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Do not forget. And as you file in, say hello in the chat. Be nice, man. We don't do no BS. I do have a lot of moderators, so watch yourself in the chat. We just like to have fun. We all talk games, and I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging out with me every Saturday. So before we even dive into that, man, I'm going to go ahead and get the poll of the week out of the way because I want to spend a little bit of extra time with Stagger Lee, ask him a couple questions about his beginning because he's an amazing streamer, does a lot for the community. I want to take a little extra time for that. So let me get this quick thing out of the way here, guys. So I normally do, if you're new here, I normally do a poll of the week on Monday, every Monday on Twitter. So if you're not following me, all of that info will be down in the description below. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter, a lot of the podcast members as well. I also put Stagger Lee's channel, not channel, but his Mixer channel in the description. Go follow him as well there. Puts on a great show. So the poll of the week this week, we had over 115 votes. Appreciate all you guys for voting. It was, which Battle Royale game are you currently playing? And so the results kind of went how I thought they would go, to be honest with you guys. We had an Apex Legends, 37%, Firestorm, Battlefield 5, 23%, What the F is Battle Royale at 36%, and then Fortnite at 3%. So it kind of went the way I thought it was going to go. But once again, guys, we do the poll of the week every Monday on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter if you're up for that. Appreciate you guys. Awesome. So let's go ahead and dive in, man. Stagger, I want to give you a little bit of screen time, brother. So how do you begin on Twitter, man? Let everybody know what's going on with you. Twitter, Mixer, let us know, man.
I mean, I just decided to leave another social media platform one day when I got fed up and just decided Twitter somehow less toxic for some reason. And I don't know why I decided that, but it's actually been a pretty good platform for me. I've been gaming for years, and I got on Beam when it first launched, and I streamed for a while, never took it super seriously, and then this last July, I just decided, I'm playing all the time. I'm home. I might as well just make a real run at this. And, it's just kind of been fun. I did it because I really love gaming, and streaming just seemed like a good thing to be doing. And it's kind of rolled into like helping other people and having a good time and showcasing a lot of games that I really enjoy or sometimes enjoy.
Cool. Awesome. Well, you know what? We appreciate you here, man. I know, guys, I hit him up a little bit last minute. I hit him up earlier in the week and wasn't sure if it was going to work out, but we made it happen. I appreciate this, man. I've watched it many times on Mixer, guys. He does a great stream there. Indie Focus channel, but he puts on a great stream either way. Once again, his Mixer channel link is in the description below. Please go follow this man on Mixer, man. Puts on a great, great, great show. Good guy in the community as well. One of the stand-up human beings that we have on Twitter as well as a gamer. So I appreciate you being here and taking a little time out. Then we're going to go ahead and move on. Last but not least, my guy, Fuzzy Belvedere, man. Go ahead and let us know how you've been doing today. What's going on with you, brother?
Hey, what's up, everyone? Fuzzy Belvedere here. Glad to be here with a very good guest. It's been keeping an eye on as far as like some awesome streams for awesome causes. So glad he could join us, and glad everybody else here in the chat is with us here. And let's talk some games.
Let's get it, man. Let's dive. And you know what we do? We have a whole lot of fun on the show, 60 minutes and out. Let's get it. So let's go ahead and dive in, man, with the very, very first topic of the show. So earlier this week and last week as well, I think it was last week, maybe late last week, Nintendo essentially put out a tweet or just put out some news gaming information pretty much saying that they're going to be unveiling 2 new SKUs for the Switch. And I'm very, very curious, and I've been really, really critical of Nintendo this entire generation. They kind of lightning struck twice again, and they got the Switch, and it kind of took off, even though they had the terrible Wii U era that we tend to forget this entire generation, where they didn't really do much of anything. The Switch was a big hit. It came on the scene. A lot of people loved it. So now they're thinking about 2 new SKUs. I don't know exactly the SKUs. I think it may be a smaller Switch and then maybe like a Switch Pro, which it's kind of, I'm looking at it like an Xbox One S kind of situation, where there's maybe a little bit of bump in the hardware, maybe a slightly bigger screen. They do it with the DSs all the time. There's a DS and a DS XL, so I'm kind of looking at it from that standpoint. But I wanted to get your opinion, Stagger, on what do you think about Nintendo maybe adding a couple new SKUs? First of all, do you have a Switch, and what do you think about that information?
So Switch wasn't anywhere on my radar before it came out, and then I woke up the morning it came out and just at 6 a.m. decided to go to my local store, got in line, and they had 60 of them, and I think I was the 30th person and bought one with like 2 games. I personally haven't played it very much. My wife and my children absolutely love the system. I'm actually excited about both the mini and the pro version. That they're, I don't know if it's going to be called the pro or if it's going to be called the mini, but like the idea of the mini, because I mean, from what I've heard, some rumors is like it might not have the Joy Cons. It might just be like a PS Vita kind of like successor,
Hmm.
and a little bit more durable for your kids. I like that idea because I have one small child who breaks everything. The price point seems like it might be cool, but like the pro is really where, like, I've talked to a couple friends and I'm like, if this is increasing the hardware, excuse me, like what it can do, what games it can play, like more of like an entry level Xbox, the base Xbox One. If it can do games like that, the idea is that it can play other games that the PS and the Xbox are playing, so they can compete a little bit better. I'm in. Like, if I can take like Doom or games like that on the go and have a good time playing them, I'm all about it.
Awesome, awesome. And that's another thing I was thinking about as well too, because I felt like when the Switch came out, I felt like they were going to Wii U themselves all over again because here you are now. You put out this hardware or this Switch is clearly underpowered versus your two biggest competitors as far as what it can run, and the limited amount of games. Although the Switch has kind of picked up steam with the number of games coming out, for a while there it was very limited. It wasn't a ton of games coming out, and you weren't really getting any third-party games because there were very few that can actually run on a Switch. With full optimization. So that was an issue I know I had with the Switch. So like you said, if this new Switch, the S version or whatever you want to call it, Pro version, is upgraded to run some of these other third-party games, then I may actually have to step in and purchase one because I've always liked the novelty of having a Switch. I don't own one, by the way. FYI, anybody in the chat, I'm not saying I own one yet because I don't. But if the Pro upgraded version comes out, this may be something I need to heavily look at. My daughter wants one. She's been begging me for a Switch, but I'm definitely buying a Pro version if she's going to be able to play some of these other third-party games, these multi-plats that the Switch isn't getting because it can't run them. So I don't know. I'm really excited about it though. I've been really hard on Nintendo, Stacker. You can go back check the archives. I've been really really hard on Nintendo, and but I think this is a good move. I think it works for them. They still got the Switch is the newest console out of the big three, so they still got plenty of leeway, plenty of time. Nintendo kind of is in their own lane, so they don't necessarily have to keep up as far as Xbox putting out their new console, PlayStation putting out their new console. So I think it's a good move. It's a safe move. They do it all the time with the DS, and they see a ton of success there. And the Switch is like that hybrid handheld home console. I think it's more of a handheld than a home console, honestly. But I think
I
it's a
agree.
great move, and it's very, very, very safe move for Nintendo. And I'm sure it's something that their gamers have thought about, their fan base have thought about as well. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it, man. So what? You said price point. Did you talk about what about the price point? What do you think that it's going to come in at? What would you be comfortable with, like a S version? Like how much do you think that should come in
Like
at?
the an upgraded version,
Yeah,
if it was a Pro or an S or whatever you want to
yeah.
call it. Like what? So the Switch is 350 right now, isn't it? Or is it
I
300?
is it? It's 299, I think. Still, I
Oh,
think it's
so like three.
yeah,
I think they would be safe to be in that 350 range, though. I mean, it's upgraded. It might be up to 400, but like, I couldn't see paying. I mean, your consoles are 350, $400 right now, and I mean, you can
right
get an
now.
S pretty damn cheap.
Yeah.
And you can get a base Xbox even cheaper. I don't know what the PS4 is running for right now, but I know they're pretty much the same.
Hmm.
Um, but I could see 350, easily.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to pay that for like top games. I mean, like Nintendo's always kind of blazed their own trail of like
Yeah.
not like we're doing awesome crazy graphics, but just like we have our nostalgia market and we know what our base wants, but they definitely need to, if they want more market share, they do need to give us something a little bit more powerful to grab some of us hardcore gamers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the gap is only going to get bigger with the new consoles as far as power hardware. So you're leaving yourself too far behind because you're not going to have any multiplats once they hit once that PS5 and then that Xbox come out because those games aren't going to be able to run on that Switch at all. So like I said, it makes sense you lessen that blow when these other two companies drop their consoles because that hardware gap is only getting bigger. The Xbox isn't going backwards, nor is Sony. So these games are getting bigger. They're getting more complicated. We talked about it last week on the show, the podcast, or not last week, 2 weeks ago. Sorry, on the podcast that these games we're asking more for developers. Make bigger worlds. Give us more shit to do. So I don't want to see the Switch fall victim like the Wii U, where the power is not there, the games aren't there. You really only living on first party stuff, and then sometimes you have big gaps where they don't have any of that. So it's kind of a precarious position. But I think with the success of the Switch, the sales of the Switch, and I think a lot of people are comfortable with the console and where it's at. So I think that this is very, very safe for them. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzzy. What do you think about the Switch and the two SKUs? Are you in? Are you out?
I'm in, but it wasn't something that I was particularly looking for myself. I mean, my sons are more so into their Xbox than anything, and their cell phones as a secondary. The smaller portable would probably fit right in, but I don't think they're going to want to carry it to school. Well, actually, I'm not going to want them to carry it to school, but for the most part, for like long road trips, it wouldn't be a bad alternative. But then that's one more thing that they're carrying around other than like a cell phone. Good idea. I don't know if it fits in my household, but I'm all for them going with a pro because if you're going to run games like Wolfenstein or Doom and a few other ones that they got that are like what you would consider for your standard home console, that's definitely an improvement, and it's something that would possibly catch my attention a little bit better
Yeah.
as far as looking for a portable. But at this time, not on my particular radar, but it's good on them to expand that lineup. I mean, yeah, they've improved their DSs over the years and everything, and this is a good thing for them to do because like the DS sells like gangbusters no matter what they do, color screen, black and white, whatever. Just new models almost every other year. It seems.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why they wouldn't, or excuse me, why they haven't done this sooner with the Switch.
Especially the mini. The mini will probably make them a ton of money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That mini's gonna sell like crazy. So yeah, you're right. I mean, the one thing about Nintendo that I appreciate is their consistency when it comes to putting out hardware. The consistency and the quality of the hardware software that they drop. You know what I'm saying? You never see Nintendo having a day one patches on their games. You never see that from Nintendo. You never see Nintendo hardware issues and recalls, things like that. So, but this is good. I think it's safe. Like I said before, it's something that is a natural progression for a console. We see there's always these mid-gen refreshes, and like you said, since it's a hybrid, I feel like the revamps are going to come more often. And Nintendo loves to do that. If they're going to milk the shit out of this Switch as long as they possibly can until they are forced essentially to make the new console, which they probably are working on a new one. Who knows? Maybe it's in, I don't know what stage it would be in at this point, but I think it's a safe move. It's a really good move, and I think it's going to sell no matter what they do. And I think that mini is going to be a big hit, like you said as well. So that was a great opening topic, man. We warmed up. That was our jog essentially to get the full before we start the full workout. So once again, if you're filing in now, drop a like on the channel. It helps the podcast be seen. Subscribe to the channel as well. And we appreciate you guys. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next topic, man. So this is a fun one. So we're gonna be talking about Sony State of Play. And me and Stagger were talking about this pregame. He watched the event, and we're gonna go ahead and get these two gentlemen's opinions on the State of Play event. If you're living under a rock, Sony had a random event out of nowhere. They just announced it on Twitter. Hey, we're doing some shit. It's called State of Play. Come watch. Now, none of us had any idea what the event was going to be, but because Sony has not done any event at all in over a year, everybody, I think, maybe jumped the gun a little bit and said, hey, this is something from Sony, so it should be big or should be good. And the event, a lot of VR, a lot of other announcements, a lot of stuff we've seen already. So a lot of people were underwhelmed by it. But I want to get your opinion, Stagger. I know we were talking about this pregame, but what do you think about the State of Play event? Do you think that's something that, like inside Xbox, that could be revamped? Were there any things you see that they need to change, or was it overall just a good event for you?
I mean, for me personally, I didn't have a lot of hype behind it. And granted, there wasn't a lot of hype. When I watched it today, my take it was, like it was cool to see. Like they showed me some games that I had seen before. That were kind of like, "Ooh, I kind of want to play that." But like they talked about VR a lot, which is totally meaningless to me. I know it's great; a lot of people love it, but it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, another VR game. That's awesome. But I I don't think it was bad. I don't think it deserved all the hate it got. I just think they could have prepared a little bit more. But I also saw it as a signal. I mean, granted, we all know the cycles are coming to an end for this generation of the Xbox and the PlayStation, but it was a clear cut signal that we don't have much more to offer for this platform. And we
Yeah.
are working on something else. So here's this. Here's some VR. You know, like let's promote this thing that we put a lot of R&D into, that is sold relatively well but not as well as we'd hoped to. I mean, I counted, I think, 12 games they talked about that either had VR, or I mean were VR games, or have a VR functionality, and there was like 4 games that weren't. So I mean, it was very VR focused. But they
Okay.
could I think they've they're holding back right now for very good reasons.
Hmm.
They haven't talked a lot about the PS5 at all, really. So I think they're holding back, and they're giving us what they have left for the PS4.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? You hit the nail on the fucking head. I agree because Fuzzy, we've been going
Mhm.
back and forth the last 8 months about Sony, PlayStation. What are they doing? Why are they so quiet? What are they not doing? They're not going to E3, no PSX, all these different things. And then, boom, randomly a state of play event. Like he said, and I said this on Twitter, I'm sorry if you're a fan of Sony. I understand. I'm not taking a shot at Sony, but they don't have anything else to show. They've shot their load. Days Gone, Death Stranding, and Ghost of Tsushima is the only 3 games you really have to look forward to that we don't have release dates for yet. And who knows if Days Gone or not Days Gone, but Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, or Last of Us 2 are going to be on the new console. So like I said, I think, to me, I agree 100% with that. It signified that we don't really have a lot to show for this PlayStation 4. We're really, really quiet about this PS5 because that's what our focus and attention is on at this point. We're giving you this just to give you some information, just to kind of generate some interest, maybe some talk around Sony and the platform. And once again, like, show off VR because it did sell fairly well. Maybe not as well as they thought it was going to be. I still think VR is so far off, and I still think a lot of people don't like the idea of having a headset or something cover their faces while they're playing video games. I still think that's a novelty to most people, not something that they're actually going to do. But I still think VR is a few years off. But let's get your opinion, Fuzz. What do you think about the event, man? What do you think? Would you expect first? But when you saw it, what did you think?
I didn't expect much, but this gave me some insight on what or how they're going to sneak into like the E3 spoiler announcement. Like I know we talked about it before, like, oh yeah, they're not going to be at E3. They're not going to, they don't have a PSX announced or anything like that. And I kept saying, I'm like, these guys are going to try to find a way to spoil Microsoft's shine come E3. And this gives them an in. Yes, the date's a little off right now. We're talking like the 25th of the month versus like the 11th or 10th or something like that when E3 will announce. But I don't foresee them having a problem changing the date or the time frame. Like right now, I look at this as like a strategic plan. Didn't think much of the state of play. It's great that they showed some VR games for the VR customers out there. Nothing that really caught my attention other than, okay, Iron Man looked good, but if they had spent the time and effort like what they did with Spider-Man, or had a dev that was working on it that was like the same caliber as Insomniac Games, then I think it would be a whole different ballgame. We'd be looking at Anthem like, what was this mess comparably? But it is what it is. It's kind of like the Batman experience, but now you're Iron Man. But that's good. But I always wondered how they were gonna, you know, weasel their way in during like between June 10th, June 13th or so, when everybody's got their eyes on Xbox, talking about new hardware, talking about new games, possibly new studios, and a whole list of other things that they probably look to unveil. And I figure this will be a gauge where if the higher ups at Sony have a good feeling that there's going to be an announcement of hardware or how much detail is going to be given on the hardware, then you'll have a random out of the blue state of play around the same time frame, or maybe a couple of hours later. They like to come after Xbox and do their backdoor or back room commercial of how you share a game type of thing, and they're going to find a way to make the PS5 all the social media and gaming journals and things like that are out there talking about. So from the first episode, much like the Xbox show, it, I guess we shouldn't have gone in expecting much. I know some people were like, "Oh, mini E3," but yeah, it was just something to kind of get the people's attention, you know, have them at least in the news cycle, and then get some feedback, and then between now and June, they'll figure out a way to knock us on our feet or off our feet type of thing when it comes time to spoil, E3 with PS5 announcement and the Last of Us 2 launch date and things along those lines. But I saw more of that, or I get more of that from that state of play than the caliper or quality of the games that they
Mhm.
showed. So that's just my
That's
take on it.
Okay, cool. Well, then you know what? Like I said before, I think the thing with Sony is that we don't know we have no idea. And Stagger said this, and he highlighted this earlier, that we don't know anything about. They haven't talked anything about the PS5. We all know it's coming. It's like
Yeah.
inevitable. We know it's coming. It's an elephant in the room, but they're not talking about it. So Sony is very, very good at capitalizing and capitalizing on what Microsoft does, Nintendo does. So I'm not sure if they're going to do anything. They have said that they're not doing anything around E3 around that time frame, but that shit could change any day. They could send a quick email saying, "Okay, we thought we weren't going to do anything, but depending on what Xbox does, we got something in the pocket. A commercial, a state of play, an email, a tweet. Who
Yeah.
knows what it could be? Maybe even release the Last of Us trailer, another gameplay trailer." Saying game coming sooner, year 2020 or something. Who knows? But that's enough to take a lot of the sales out of the wind of the sales of whoever does anything during E3. But I don't know. I'm not necessarily saying that they're gonna do anything around there, but there's a good chance, man. Because if one thing I said as well, I think Sony can weather the storm. I don't think they have to say anything. I think they can hold off till they decide to do another PSX. I don't think it's gonna hurt them if they don't do anything around E3. Now, I'm saying this not knowing what Xbox is doing as well. If we'll get to this later, and I know Phil said they're going to be going big. He said they were thinking about saving money, but he said, "Fuck it, we're gonna go big anyway. We finna blow the bank. We finna drop the whole bag on E3." So if that's any indication, they may be preparing right now to do something. Because if Xbox comes out there and blows the door off of E3 with all eyes on them, Sony may have to change their plan. So what do you think about that? Say, what do you think about the idea of Sony not going to E3 and based on how Xbox show goes, them potentially maybe doing something to kind of take the wind out of Xbox sales? Not necessarily a bad thing, not like the whole game sharing commercial, but not that bad, but just essentially maybe having another state of play, or what do you think the likeliness of that, or maybe a commercial for Last of Us or something?
I would
I
I
mean,
would say it's pretty high. I That's just my take on it. Stagger, what do you think?
I, personally, E3 and cons like that, TwitchCon, PAX, have never really done anything for me.
Okay.
I've always just kind of absorbed and like found my own ways to get the information and stuff. I've never gone back and watched a YouTube video on people's thoughts and stuff on
Hmm.
E3 or anything like that. I think if Xbox has a big E3, which they probably will because they've got a lot in pocket right now, they bought a lot of studios, they've got a lot to announce, and they've got a lot in the, like coming down the road with first party games. Um, for this genre, they have, I mean, this generation of consoles, and then they've got the cloud thing to announce, and we've seen Sony's job listings lately that they're moving in the same direction. I think they will have to respond on some level, but I also think that Sony definitely has more of a cockiness about them where they don't feel like they have to answer to anyone. They've got the market share and they're winning right now. It's clear as day. I mean, when it comes to like sales and first party exclusives. So, I mean, if Nintendo, I mean, see if Xbox comes out and just drops some stuff that nobody was expecting, I think they will have to respond. But we also know like when Sony responds or when Sony's prepared, they throw a ton of money
Oh
behind
man.
their advertising
Oh yeah.
campaigns.
That's
So I don't think they can just either they have something ready or they have it in the works now, to, like you said, they're not. They've said that they're not going to do something around E3. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's a tough
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, chat. What do you guys think? Chat, let us know in the chat right now. What do you guys think? What's likely to happen with Sony D3 if Xbox does come out and blows the doors off of everything? We're gonna get to Phil's statement later on in the show, but you guys let me know in the chat what do you guys think. Drop a like as well there. We're gonna go ahead and keep moving on. That was a great topic as well, man. We're gonna keep this thing going. Once again, hit that like button as you filing in. Say hello in the chat, man. Make sure you're cordial, nice to everybody. We like to have a lot of good fun, talk nothing but gaming, man. So let's keep things going. So this is my favorite topic. So I'm gonna start with this one. So Gearbox finally gave us what we wanted. Well, me, what I wanted essentially was to see Borderlands 3, this generation at least, see something about it. It may not come out this generation, but to see something about the game, see a trailer, see some gameplay, or just know that the damn thing exists. So I'm fully excited right now. I know there's been some blowback about Polygon and the trailer. Some people are underwhelmed. Polygon went on this huge rant that the trailer was trash and it was a bunch of the same thing. And I wanted to get everybody's opinion. Stagger, yours first. On what do you think about Borderlands 3 first? Are you a fan of Borderlands in general? Second of all, what do you think about what you saw from the trailer? So let's get your opinion on that.
I've got like three things to hit here, probably.
Okay, cool.
One, yeah, I'm a fan of the series. I really loved the first one, played the crap out of it, did everything. Two, I didn't complete everything. Three, or the prequel, I should say. These aren't my 3 points. I'm just hitting the 3 games. I couldn't get into the prequel at all. I was really turned off by the Gathering of Air. I know things got better later, but like it just turned me off early into the game. Two, like I watched the trailer today and it looks awesome. I mean, it looks like Borderlands.
It's like Borderlands.
Yeah, it's great. It's been a few years since they put out a game, and they did the remasters or the whatever they call it,
the Handsome Jack collection.
Yeah, and I played that a bit, but it's I made a tweet about it today. Unpopular opinion, but it's not just Borderlands. Like I think it's great and it's nostalgia and the storylines and the writing is great, but I'm just tired of playing the same games over and over and over again. And I feel like that this will be fun. It'll be great to play with 4 friends or other friends. Obviously 4-player co-op, but it's still the same game. With just different writing. To me.
Got it.
So that's kind of where I'm at on it, and I want to see. I don't know how you innovate more into that game and make it more interesting, or to people like me. But I understand that it's gonna make Gearbox and it's gonna sell great, and it's gonna be a fun game to play. And I love the visual art style. I love the stories in them and stuff, but I just want to see some risks, I guess.
And you know what? That makes sense because as big of a fan I am as Borderlands, I'm a huge advocate. You can ask Fuzzy. I'm always going up to bat for Borderlands. We've talked about it on the show many times. I made individual videos about Borderlands. Why are we not seeing it? Why are we not seeing it? There are a couple things that didn't necessarily rub me the wrong way, but I'm a little concerned because, like you said, the game is going to be amazing. It's what I expected as a fan of Borderlands. But the problem is this game has been in development for God knows how long. It's probably the entire generation has been in development. Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And Gearbox was so hush-hush about any information regarding the game, none of us ever really knew, what state the game actually is in. So the one thing I'm worried about, like you said, is innovation. The looter shooter genre is nowhere near, it's completely different from the last time we saw a new Borderlands game. So you talking about Destiny, Division, Anthem, you can keep going. There's tons of looter shooters. That's kind of like the thing now. It's kind of like the trend in game. Looter shooters is battle royale. That's kind of like the thing. Everybody has to have a looter shooter or a battle royale game. But be it the fact that we've seen all these cool and different things, and the market is that particular genre is crowded, and a lot of people play in that market or that genre. It is going to have to do something different. Because I have fun with Borderlands and I know I'm gonna love it. I'm definitely buying it because one thing I enjoy about it is, like you said, the characters, and the humor and the story. You still can't get that type of writing and those type of characters. You don't get that experience in any other looter shooters. And it's like the I won't say father, but it's one of the first looter shooters I ever played. or experience that I really, really enjoyed. So that's one thing. Innovation is what I would like to see. The trailer didn't really show anything different. So is that kind of what you were saying, Stagger? Like from the trailer, you didn't really see anything that would be like, this is different.
You were saying it's been in development for a long time. It takes a long time to make a billion guns, apparently. I mean, it's just the same game. And I mean,
Yeah.
chat saying like, why change the formula? And I understand what they're saying, but I could see Gearbox making new IP, instead of just focusing on a third Gears of War, gosh, third Borderlands game. You know how much I want some more Gears of War. I was just commenting in chat that, like, I'm saying these things and I want a new IP from like Gearbox or something like that. As a guy who will play Halo or Gears of War, and I know people will play God of War, Gears of War, God of War, and these kind of titles over and over again. But like, I, it's just safe,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I would just like to see them be a bit more risky, but that's not what makes everyone happy and doesn't make a lot of money. So I get it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I would like the risk too because I know they can do it. I know it's a perfect kind of game. I mean, nobody's gonna bash you for taking risk in Borderlands. Like, nobody's gonna bash you for trying to do different things. You know what I'm saying? So stick to the core game. And I understand, chat. We got a lot of Borderlands fans in the chat. Apparently, I'm a huge Borderlands fan, but I agree with Stagger. I agree with Stagger that some innovative changes are nice. And once again, we don't know what's changed. This is me and Stagger talking about just the trailer that we've seen. So there could be other things when they give a full breakdown. Other trailers are going to come out closer to the game's release. We're going to see more gameplay. So there could be a ton of new things in the game that we didn't even see. So this is all pre before the game comes out. But we're gonna go ahead and bounce this over to you, Fuzz, man. I know you're a big Borderlands fan as well. What did you think about the trailer, man?
It wasn't bad. I liked a lot of the visuals, and I know some people were getting giving it guff as far as the visuals themselves, but it's the art style that everybody likes from the original. So I don't know why they would nitpick at that, but I'm kind of surprised they didn't go like the online looter shooter type of setup. I mean, I know they're the grandfathers of like looter shooter and co-op and stuff like that, but like as far as like what you guys are saying with taking a risk, I'm surprised that they didn't take a risk, but I can understand why they want to go the safe route. But it would have been a nice possible add on to mix into that whole story and expand on it a good bit, because then they would be a great looter shooter that has a very good storyline, or one that you don't have to search for and go through like recordings and things like that. While you're leveling up or while you're going through the story. So it would have been a nice possible change, but in the grand scheme of things, definitely looking forward to this thing coming out. Kind of figured or worried if we would see it this generation or if it's going to be next. I'm hoping it winds up being like a cross-gen type of thing at worst, but definitely like to see it at least on the X1X this go around. But yeah, I was expecting a little bit more just because with the Division and Destiny and Anthem and everything. I figured, well, to kind of knock Destiny and the Division, and well, at least Destiny and Anthem, probably
Yeah.
more so Anthem until they get some stuff fixed. I figured this would definitely be able to give the Division a run for its money, because like right now, that's like, I won't say it's the perfect game, but it's so good right now as far as looter shooter. And yeah, it doesn't have a story. You kind of make your story as you go, depending on how you play through it. But it's what I've been looking for, and Borderlands, I'm pretty sure will deliver on the looter shooter aspect that I'm looking for as well. Just would have been kind of cool if they went online as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be dope as well too. So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us, I tend to be a little rougher on games that I really really enjoy. I tend to critique them a little tougher. So I'm
Yeah, definitely.
expecting a lot from Borderlands 3 anyway. So you got to understand from that point as well, chat. But I think the game's gonna be great. I don't think any of us are saying the game's bad or gonna be bad at all. I would like to see risk, and that's exactly what Stagger is saying as well. And I know I'll let him speak for himself here in a minute, but I'd like to see a little risk taken. I like to see some different things in the game. I always love the art style. I don't know why anybody would even critique the art style. What the hell is your problem? Did you not play the first two? Fun fact here. I don't know if you know this, Stagger. I'm kind of a game historian here, but I still have the Game Informer from the very first review from the first Borderlands. And the game, like it was before the first Borderlands came out. That game was not even supposed to be anything like it was, like it actually ended up being. It was not supposed to be shell shaded. It was supposed to be like a GTA. It wasn't supposed to be like a looter shooter. So in its very very early infancy state. But that was just a little quick fun fact either way. But so so since we've kind of gone over and kind of picked apart the game a little bit, what are some things you are looking forward to in the game, Stacker?
I mean, honestly, like it's so I've never been a looter shooter. I've always been more. One of my younger days of playing, I was more of like first person shooter.
Yeah.
Just go through and shoot the shit out of everything. But Borderlands was really the game. Like when I first started playing it, like I just cracked out. Like I would be playing with a team, right, and they'd be off doing the mission, and they're like, "Where I'm opening all the boxes and the sword and the cases. I am getting all the loot." They're like, it's everywhere, and I'm like, "I know, I get it all." It just so I mean, I'm gonna do a lot of that. The writing is always really good. It makes me laugh. The games like even the Telltale Borderlands that was
Yeah,
great. I
really
love it.
good,
It's one of my
really good.
favorite ones.
Hmm.
I, I don't. I see him just doing more of the same and just having fun with friends.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't. I don't know. Like a billion guns. Whoop de doo. Am I ever gonna see all the billion guns? But at least there's like a shit ton of variants.
Well, you know why they made sure they know. Well, you know why they made sure they said that because that's an issue in like Destiny and Division, and not Division, but some of these other games that you get a lot of these duplicate guns and there's really no variety. That's one thing that stands out in Borderlands is there's too much variety almost as far as like, you'll never ever probably run through that many guns ever. So that could be
Right.
looked at a good thing or a bad thing, but it's something that makes Borderlands stand out. Like I said, as well as the characters and the story that stands out. You're not going to get that kind of experience in any other looter shooter. The comedy, the humor, the sensitivity to each particular character. You can play with four different characters, but each one individually is feel like they're like when you're playing with them, they feel like they're the major component of the game. They feel like okay, this game was built around them, even though they're four different characters. So they do a great job with the story and the characters. So I'm excited, and I think everybody here is in the chat as well. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. I definitely wanted to get that topic in for sure, for sure, for sure, because I'm a huge Borderlands fan. So let's go ahead and keep this thing moving. Once again, chat, you guys have been amazing. Drop a like in the chat. Drop a like in the video, I mean. Drop a comment in the chat as well. Say hi to everybody as you come in or as you exit. Appreciate you guys. So we're going to go ahead and move on to this last one. And I saved this for last on purpose because this is a big topic here. And I really, really want everybody's opinion on it. So recently, Phil Spencer, matter of fact, fairly recently, I'd say I have the actually I have the article up here on an Inside Xbox show, essentially when it was launched on January 25th, so it was a couple months ago. But essentially, Phil, I'm going to read this entire quote for him, and this is Phil's full quote. He said, "This is going to be a fun E3 for us. We had a discussion internally. Should we go big? Should we save some money? No, we're going to do our thing, and we're going to go and be as big. Sorry about it. Go be as big at E3 as we've ever been. And I love the opportunity to be with our fans in the industry. We're still going to go through some of the discussions on how much long term and how much near term games do we talk about. I'm a proponent for being as transparent as can be. I feel really good about our plans. The content that we'll have will be great. We'll talk about our future. We'll talk about more what the Xbox brand means to us. We have millions of Xbox customers. We see them on a phone or another device. We want to make that possible. So I wanted to get your opinion on what Phil's quote means for Xbox, what Phil's quote means for just gaming in general as far as E3. So Stagger, are you excited about that? What do you think he means by going big?
I mean, with what's that Google thing called? The Stradia?
Stadia?
I don't know what it's called,
Yeah.
man. With that being announced, I mean, and I didn't pay a lot of attention to that. I saw the Twitter chatter and just read what people were saying about that. I think that motivates them to push a little bit harder because I mean they're pushing hard on this cloud thing. With we all, I mean, in my opinion, and it's obvious that it's what 3 to 5 years away before
Yeah.
millions of people are really playing on a cloud. I mean, the infrastructure is just not there for it right now. For the especially in the U.S. for internet. Um, but like going big, like they've how many studios did they acquire this year? 12?
No, they've since the last E3. It was
Yeah.
well, it's been only like 6 or 7. How many is it,
Okay.
Fuzz? It's like 7. I think
Okay,
Yeah, I
I
think
thought it was more
so.
than that. Okay,
7.
that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean, they're all working on something. You know what I mean? So, and some of them are going to have games that are going to be, probably a fall, if not holiday release. So I feel like they're going to be pushing those. And like the discless the Stream Deck that they're going to push that out. I think they're just going to throw everything at it because one, they're going to be the highlight of the show. Sony's
yeah,
not going to be there, and they're going to have as much time as they want to talk about everything they want and to show anything and everything that they want to. And I think they're going to do that. I think they're going to hit us hard. I mean, if you listen to everybody on Twitter and on wherever, Xbox lost, right? They
yeah,
lost this round. If it's a plastic box competition, Xbox lost,
yeah.
and they know they have to come back and hit really hard this time to win back what they used to have. So this is their opportunity without their main competition being on stage.
Yeah.
So I see them doing everything they can right now, especially with Stradia coming out and like pushing them to try harder. I've always thought that competition drives better things for not just in gaming, just in life in general, but it makes things better for everyone else typically. Like if two companies or three companies are going to be pushing each other to do better, we're going to get better things as gamers.
Absolutely. And I agree wholeheartedly. We've always said that on this show and this channel as well. A lot of my podcast mates agree 100%. And I think you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think they're going big. Like he said, he specifically, and I don't think Phil says things on accident. I think he words things in a particular way. When he said, should we save money? That to me, that equals should we hold back any announcements? That's what that equals to me. Should we hold back any announcements? And he said, no. That means that they're opening the floodgates. Now I don't know if we're going to get everything that we may be thinking, because let's not put on our tinfoil hats and go that far. What I'm saying is that I don't think anything is off limits at this point or out of the realm of being announced. I think everything is essentially a go. And the one thing people don't understand, and I think a lot of people are missing this point. It's chess, not checkers. Phil is a very, very intelligent man. He's a great CEO, a great leader of Xbox, I should say, and he knows what he's doing. I think things are finally hitting their stride. The last E3 went over well with the majority of people, as critics, journalists, a lot of people here on Twitter, on YouTube. A lot of people enjoyed the show. It went very, very well. The announced studios, the kind of a soft roadmap for the future. I think they're coming in this E3 saying we're going to emphasize that roadmap, those ideas and those plans that we've kind of been hinting at. We're going to we're going to set those in concrete. And we're going to let you guys know that this is where Xbox is going. And we have a lot of shit to offer here at Xbox. So I think that he just wants to cement that idea in a lot of the Xbox fan base, as well as in general. Like you said, Stadia comes out. I think Stadia coming first does a huge, huge favor for Xbox with the XCloud announcement. Because if they can come out and and the idea works, now that idea is out there to the mass media and to the masses, that okay, this cloud gaming thing is actually realistic, it can be done, it's going to be done. The Xbox isn't the only company looking at this. I think that took a lot of pressure off Xbox, as far as, okay, we have to make sure this xCloud announcement is A+. I think they're still going to do a great job. I still think they have to nail it. The marketing, the messaging has been terrible for Xbox this generation. I think they have to nail that when it comes to the xCloud and a couple other things. But I think Phil's just going to get up there and say, you know what? We got a lot of shit to show. We got a lot of things cooking up. They're talking about maybe even some more studio announcements, all kind of crazy shit. So I'm really, really excited. I think, like you said, iron sharpens iron. And I think Sony knows that. Nintendo knows that. Microsoft knows that. And I think that everybody's going to benefit from it. So I want to get your opinion on this next, though, Fuzz. That tweet specifically, or that conversation that Phil had with Major Nelson, what do you think about some of the word choice? What do you think about the E3 coming up for Xbox? You think it's going to be as big as Phil's saying it is? We have heard that before, too. So do you think it's going to be even bigger than last year's show?
I think it will be. Maybe not the same numbers as far as studio acquisitions or anything along those lines, but I think as far as hopefully potentially some new IPs or some returning IPs, I think that will be the focal point, along with hardware. I think they're going to go into a little bit more detail, even though, to my understanding, I guess the diskless drive Xbox will already be out in stores or something like that a month prior. But I think they're gonna, if they didn't get the messaging right for that, I think they'll go through the explanation of why this would be something that you may want to consider, especially if you're already going, full digital or at least part the way there. Um, I think as long as they explain the possible or what was rumored to be like the physical disc exchange for a digital copy, which I'm really anxious for because I still have a handful of physical copies that I didn't buy like the digital counterpart to. But um, hardware, especially talking about next gen, I think that's going to be the main thing because with Sony not being there and Sony not saying anything along the lines as far as PS5, it gives them the stage to at least unveil what's behind the curtain, what we can expect next generation, what to look forward to, and then maybe where the X1X will fall as far as between like the next two consoles, or if it's going to be like, hey, X1X will be continue to be a good platform for like 4K 30, but right now, if you want to go with 4K 60, uh, with basic details, the Lockhart will be the way to go, and then the Anaconda will be the 4K 60 with high, medium to high detail, or something to that effect, and some other bells and whistles. But the new hardware is going to be big. Some more studios will be nice, and I'm looking to see if they do anything that will convince anybody that was on a different platform prior on
Mhm.
what going into the next generation will benefit them as far as getting into the ecosystem, whether it's combining Xbox Live with Game Pass or something to that effect, or maybe a couple of different tiers that better bang for buck kind of deal. Like if you go with the full year of Game Pass, Xbox Live is included, or something to entice people to switch over, along with their first party stuff, day and date, and maybe a third party or two, as opposed to some of the smaller devs, maybe a slightly bigger dev that's day and date now, and things along those lines. But not needing to save money. I mean, it's always great when you hear companies looking to spend money as far as trying to get money from us, as far as trying to attract the some more customers. But I'm really looking to see what the benefits are going to be going into the next gen from Microsoft. I'm pretty happy with the ecosystem now. Wouldn't hurt to have some new games to look forward to between the end of this gen and going into next gen, and see what some of these studios are working on. Because gotta tell you, I'm anxious to see whether it's Fable or something else, or
Man, man.
maybe
Woo.
two different games as far as what Playground is working on. Would love to see what Ninja Theory is working on, and kind of enthused to see what Obsidian might be working on outside of the
Outer Worlds.
multiplayer. Yeah,
I'm
so
curious to see if any of them have some new IPs. Like that'll be cool.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, for sure. You know what? The another thing about the studios they bought. I'm going to cut you off, Fuzzy, and I'm going to let you finish here in
no,
a
go
second.
ahead.
Is that they tend to buy studios who already are doing things. None of the studios they purchase are dormant, which means they weren't doing anything at the time they purchased them. They're already working on IPs, or they had an idea for an IP. So
Yeah.
like even the studios that were already close to Xbox, like Undead Labs, like Playground Games, they were already doing shit. You know what I'm saying? There's rumors obviously about Playground Games with the whole Fable thing. Playground may be working on their own game that's completely separate, but I am super excited. That's probably one of the biggest things that I'm excited for about E3. I really want to see if they really are going to be buying more studios, because if they are, that just signifies that they're really not fucking around. They
I think
really are
they will.
not playing around. Say that
I
again.
think they will. I think they're gonna buy more, or at
You think
least
so? Do they need to though?
need to. I don't necessarily know if they need to, but I mean they have the money and the support to throw everything at this right now. Why not?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
So
considering they
how
want
many?
like all their games and they want Xbox to be played on any device, almost any device with quotation marks there. Um, I, I mean, everybody's all about first party exclusive games, but I really feel like, granted, Xbox is going to roll out some exclusive IPs, but if you're being able to play it on any device, how exclusive is it?
Good point.
Yeah.
That and at that point, technically, there's no exclusive play. There'll be, nothing's exclusive. You know what I'm saying? At that particular point, when that becomes a thing. So yeah, you're right. That's a good point. So how many studios do you think we'll see if they show? If they show any, how many studios do you think?
If they bought.
Well, no, I mean, how many? If we do see any, if we see an announcement at this coming E3, how many do you think they'll show? Or just to guess, I guess.
Like if they bought any new studios, they could have, like Shonsu, I agree, like 1 to 2 that they might they've kept under wraps. I mean, we haven't really heard any rumors lately that I'm aware of them like negotiating or anything, not like at least like the last month or so.
Yeah.
But I could see them, like you were saying a few minutes ago about just they bought companies that were already working on something or already had an idea. I mean, I feel like they went in and saw what people were working on and were like, we want to fund you to make this better for us and for our platform, or we want to flush out this idea and give you all the money and resources you need to take your creative ideas and designs and run with it. And I think they're gonna do that, and we're gonna get some of those games soon. And I think they're gonna be announcing them at E3. So
Okay. Cool. What would you? I know, Fuzzy. We've talked about this, but how many studios you think, if that does happen, how many do you think you're going to see? You agree, one or two, two or three?
I think it's going to be at least one or two. I would like to see a couple more, but I would say one or two. I know Cloveril had made he was saying some sort of
I remember
song
that
or something
tweet
like that,
a
but it
couple
was
months ago.
yeah. I think everybody was like, "Oh, Iowa Interactive," and I'm like, "No." I had to look up what the initials stand for. The LOIs. It's letter of intent. So the last time he had made mention of that, there was Obsidian, and then a time before that, I think there was Playground. So there's somebody else that they're definitely working with right now as far as a purchase. So I would say that there's definitely going to be at least one, but it would be nice if there's maybe like a two or like maybe a second or third one to go along with it. But yeah,
Mhm.
I expect it's at least see one.
Yeah.
But
So the thing is, are we talking? So we talking small studios here, big studio?
I think for it to remain this quiet, it's probably going to be a smaller studio. It'd be nice if it's a bigger studio, but there's so many moving parts at that point. So many people that would have to keep quiet for it not to leak out prior. I mean, who's to say it won't leak out like hours before E3? But for right now, for things to remain that quiet, and all we know is that there's supposedly a letter of intent floating around, but we don't know who who it's with, type of thing.
Hmm.
Usually, those are things that a few people on that we know on Twitter would have already searched out. It's like, oh, in this investors meeting, they're
Yeah.
talking about this, and this, and it's like I haven't seen any of that yet. So
Yeah.
it's they got some top secret stuff going on right
Oh
now. I
yeah.
mean, I know a lot of people are talking about them working on something with Nintendo, and
I don't know about a working. Like I don't. I mean, the working is a that's. I guess that's the key word here. Working could be taken in so many different ways. Working could be
true,
just a quick collaboration. It could be a marketing collaboration. It could
yeah,
be, hey, let's put Master Chief in Smash Bros. It
right,
could be anything. We don't know the extent of that. They have been very, very chummy though this generation. Well, at least the last couple years, they've been very, very chummy. Now we don't know it could be a bunch of nothing. It just could be, Phil and the head of Nintendo are just good guys. They were both together on the whole, cross platform. They both stood firm on that.
yeah,
Both, gave each other shout outs. So they've been really, really chummy. And then the cross platform games, a couple of other things as well. So who knows? Who knows? But I think I'm in agreement that I think there's like an 80% chance we're gonna see at least 1 to 2 studios announced. And I got a feeling that one of them is gonna be like left field. I feel like one of them is gonna be like, wow, I didn't see that coming. Like maybe not like wow EA, nothing crazy like that, but just I didn't see it coming as far as a particular studio. So I'm hoping there's more than one, but if it is just one, I'll be fine with that. Any studio announcement anyway. But I think there's a good chance that they're going to get out there and they're gonna walk a couple people out on the stage. We're going to be surprised. So I'm real happy with it so far, though. But I don't know. I just think my overall opinion of this coming E3 and what Phil said is that I think he's just cementing the idea. He wants to get ahead this generation. He doesn't want to happen. He said he's made the bold statement: we're not falling behind. We're not going to. This is what happened this past generation is not happening again. I'm gonna
They
fix all
definitely
of that
learn from
shit.
their mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fixing all of that shit. We'll never be behind on power. None of the mixed messaging. That's never gonna happen. So I think he's really adamant. I think he wants to drive that point home to us, Xbox fans as well as other gamers in general who may be looking at the platform. I'm really excited, man. I'm really excited, bro. And I'm gonna do my damn best this year to stay off of Twitter. Within the first like 2 weeks of June, or not to June, but the first like week of June and late May, because that's right around the time we start getting all these lists, all these leaks, all these random things on Twitter, and it ruins shit for a lot of people. So I'm definitely gonna try to keep my eyes off of Twitter. But that was a great topic as well, and I definitely wanted to save that for last to wrap up the show. But we do have enough time to take another question or two. So once again, chat, I know my moderator Shonsu said earlier, if you weren't here, go ahead and throw us a couple questions in the chat. We appreciate you guys coming in as well, man. We're gonna wrap this thing up, but we will answer a couple here. So just drop them in the chat right now. Drop a like on the video as well, so we could see what we're doing. Said bio. Oh, Shonsu said BioWare could be interesting. I doubt. Doesn't EA own? EA owns BioWare, right?
Yeah.
Fun fact: Xbox could have bought BioWare. They said no. Well, not it was fucking Don Matrix said no. So back way back before Mass Effect, they could have had BioWare in the pocket, and Don Matrix didn't want it. So let's see. So Nana, shout out to you. Said, will you guys be streaming E3? For damn sure. For the last probably 2 or 3 years, I've always done a live stream during E3, so you guys can look out for that. I will make sure you guys are aware of that ahead of time. Matter of fact, if you're not following me on Twitter, please do that. All that information is in the description below. Anybody? Oh, here we go. Oh, he said it again. Okay, I thought that was a new question. Okay. Okay. So Shonsu said, how long before you see Google at E3 with marketing deals? So you want to take this one, Stagger?
Google marketing deals.
I don't think Google needs E3 though.
Yeah, Google's got like more money than everybody. Like Bezos. Uh, I think Google's going to do what they do, and that I don't see them caring about E3. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, they came out on their own time, did their own thing, kind of like a state of play or the Xbox.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Inside Xbox.
Inside Xbox, yeah, which I
Yeah.
I did actually like that show. I know it got a lot of hate, but I enjoyed it. I just see them doing their own thing. I mean, and that's kind of what Google does, though. They've always kind of done their own thing. Would it benefit them to get E3? Maybe on some level, but I don't think they need it. I mean, just like how
Yeah.
Sony decided they don't need E3 anymore. I mean, E3, other than to fans, almost seems like it's starting to become irrelevant.
Ooh, I don't agree with that, but go ahead. Go ahead.
But for me, it's always been irrelevant. So I'm
Yeah.
one of those people where it's just I've never gotten super excited. But now that I'm doing more, like I'm getting deeper into the streaming and that kind of stuff, I see its
Podcast.
value. Yeah. Well, this is my first one. I'm not gonna lie. But I don't see that they need it. I mean, but it is an electronics event, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're rolling out something. Why do you think Nintendo wants to upgrade the Switch so soon? That's the next question.
Yeah, I saw that. But I want to give you. I want to give Fuzzy a chance to
go with
Google.
Fuzzy.
Google. Yeah, Fuzz. What do you think, man?
I'm almost surprised they don't have a bigger tie-in with Ubisoft. I mean, the fact that they did that test with Assassin's Creed had me kind of worried because I don't want to see them having like exclusive rights on anything in the Ubisoft catalog because I'm a big fan of a lot of their games. So I could see them working on something or having somebody like Ubisoft make a game specifically for them, kind of like the way Ubisoft did for Xbox with Splinter Cell back in the day. But I would say between now and next holiday, they probably will have a handful of things. I mean, they don't need to, but I think just to kind of bogart the whole industry, kind of like the way Epic is doing with the against Steam with their store and stuff like that. I could definitely see Google kind of opening up the wallet a little bit, even though it won't hurt them much. Um, just to snatch a few things to make Sony or Xbox fans kind of look at least a little bit closer to what they offer and go from there. I could see them just spoiling things for the
Yeah.
most part for the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna get this. We're gonna go ahead and go to the next question, but I do want to address the E3 thing. I understand. Like, there's a lot of people who feel that way about E3. I don't say a lot of people. There's a group of people. Certain, a lot of people, I guess. But so the reason why I still treat E3 the way I do, is because it's still the biggest gathering, of gamers on the planet. It's still the numbers it does as far as views and streams. There's no PAX doesn't do anything close to that. So it's still the most viewed. It's like the Super Bowl of video games. It's still the most viewed. Still it has the most eyes on it as far as a video game centric event. There's no other event. Yeah, PAX is getting better. PAX is getting bigger, but that's still to me the go to place for an event. Now, Sony dropping out. A lot of people say that's the reason it's dropping out, because it's getting stagnant, or maybe it's not as big as it used to be, but it's still by far the biggest gaming event in North America. It's not even. There's nothing else even close. So I still think that's why it's relevant to me. I still get excited for it. But once again, to each his own. No big deal. If you feel that way, no problem at all. It may be getting smaller. I don't know the numbers, but it may be getting smaller. I'm not sure. But let's go ahead and get that last question so we can go ahead and wrap things up here. Appreciate all you guys, though, man. Everybody in the chat coming to hang out. Let's get this last question in. And it was, where was it at? Oh, here we go. Shout out to Born Distracted. Said, why do you think Nintendo wants to upgrade the Switch so soon? You want to take a shot at this one, Stagger?
Well, I mean, they did the same thing with the 3DS. That's what
Yeah.
they do. I mean, they make an entry level product, and they did the same thing with the Wii. They made the Wii U. I mean, it was essentially the same damn system with just a different piece of hardware. But I mean, they got to hit different price points, and I think that it sells well for what they want and get in there. Like the Switch itself, it hit their nostalgic base well, but everybody wants to make more money, and the only way to make more money is to roll out the more powerful system to get more third-party support, and then to also roll out that Vita-esque version to where you're gonna get like kids and people who don't want to drop $300 on a console that are willing to drop 160 to $200 on a handheld device that they can take anywhere and play games, like play any of the base Nintendo type style games like your Zelda or your Mario and those kind of games, and on the road and your
Yeah.
downloadable, or I don't even know if you'll be able to download games to it, but a lot of the indie titles, I think that's why they're doing it. It's for money and market share.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a moving away probably from the 3DS and making it their new flagship handheld system, and it's also a dockable console per se.
Yeah, true. That's a good
That's
point.
what I
That's a good point. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up with that one, man. The show has been fantastic here today. But before we go ahead and wrap things up, I want to give a huge shout out to everybody in the chat that came and hang out with us. A couple new people in here. I appreciate that, man. Looks like Stagger brings out the guests, man. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for that. Go ahead and a couple shout outs. Suicide Snowman, Cyber, appreciate you. Leonidas, Nana, Blind Impulse, my mod Shonsu. Cyber, I think I said that already, but everybody, if I missed you, I do apologize. But everybody who came out, hung out, everybody not in the chat, just watching live, appreciate you guys so much. Once again, the show live every single Saturday, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Appreciate you guys showing up. But go ahead and let everybody know, Stagger, where they can find you at, brother.
I mean, do you want me to throw a link up or just say? I mean, I'm on Mixer, X Stagger, X Lee X. I'm on Twitter as well. My X Stagger X Lee X is my name across the board.
All right, awesome.
Mixer and Xbox Live.
Awesome.
Network name is different, but I'm not on there very much.
All right, awesome. And I did put your link in the description below as well to his Mixer channels. Please go check him out, man. He's an amazing streamer, man. Go support him, follow him. Appreciate everything. Appreciate you taking a little bit of time out of your weekend to come hang out. I know you got wife and kids, so I appreciate that, man. So thank you. The door is open now. You family now, Stagger. So you may get a random DM from me at any point in time saying, "Hey, man, you want to be on the show?" So appreciate you showing up. Appreciate you taking a little bit of time out, man. It was fun. Definitely a fun time. Not a problem, man. Always up for it. Second thing, my right hand man, one of my right hand man, Fuzzy Belvedere. Go ahead and give yourself a shout out. Let everybody know where they can find you, brother.
Hey, you can find me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere, PSN fuzzy_Belvedere, but mainly Xbox Live at fuzzy space Belvedere. Usually, well, used to be playing a lot of Forza, but the divisions kind of got me hooked, and jumping back and forth between that and 2K19, playing with my sons and stuff like that. So you'll usually find me online. If you want to, squad up or whatever, send me a DM or join my squad as far as for the division. But great topics, great guests, awesome chat. Thank you guys for coming out to watch.
All right, awesome. And so once again, the man PTK Blam across the board, the host with the most. My name is PTK Blam everywhere across the board. It's actually my first and last name on Twitter. All that information is in the description below. Appreciate you guys showing up. You guys always hang out with us, show up, show out. We're doing this once again, and reiterate once again, next week, 6 p.m. Saturday. Appreciate you guys. Love everybody here. We are out of here. Everybody enjoy the rest of that weekend. Peace out, everybody.